I came home from work to find my stuff in garbage bags on the lawn. My mom was standing there with my siblings, recording everything on her phone. You're 29, living in my basement like a parasite. Get out now. My brother kicked one of my bags. Finally, the family loser is gone. My sister was live streaming to her 20K followers. Y'all watching my loser brother get what he deserves. He owes mom $8,000 in back rent. My dad threw my car keys at my face. You're not our son anymore. Real men don't mooch off their parents at your age. The neighbors were recording from their porches. Mrs. Lanson shouted, "About time! We're tired of seeing his beat-up car lower our property values." I just smiled, loaded my car, then turned to face them all. Enjoy your victory party. You'll all be hearing from me very soon. And drove away. 6 months later, my DMs blew up with 70 messages. Mom, 11:47 p.m. Where are you? Answer your phone now. Brother, 11:52 p.m. Dude, mom's freaking out. Just tell us where you are. Sister, 12:03 a.m. I deleted the live stream. Please come back. We need to talk. Dad, 12:15 a.m. Call us immediately. Get your trash out of my basement, Ryan, now. Mom's voice is sharp enough to cut through the August humidity. My bags are in black garbage sacks, scattered like roadkill across the lawn. You're 29, living off me like a parasite. You think I'm gonna let this go on forever? My brother Kyle grins like he's been waiting years for this. Finally, the family loser is gone. He kicks one of my bags so hard, I hear something break inside. My sister Maddie is holding up her phone, live streaming to her 20K followers. Guys, watch this. My loser brother getting kicked out. He owes mom $8,000 in back rent. Dad tosses my car keys at my face. You're not our son anymore. Real men don't mooch at your age. The neighbors stand on their porches, phones up like it's some neighborhood parade. Mrs. Lanson yells, "About time. That car of yours is lowering property values." Who I am. Name's Ryan Miller, 29 years old. Been back in my mom's basement for 2 years since I got laid off from the construction firm after my back injury. I worked through the pain until I couldn't stand without a cane for months. Disability claims? Denied. I've been quiet all my life. Not because I don't have anything to say, but because no one in my family ever listened. The family roll call. Mom, Linda Miller, 61. Worked 2 jobs most of her life. Always reminded us about it. Loves control more than company. Dad, Frank Miller, 63. Retired firefighter. Prides his religion. Kyle, 34. My older brother. Failed business twice, but somehow still the golden child. Maddie, 26. My sister. Social media influencer. Knows how to package cruelty as comedy. The real reason. $8,000, Ryan. You've been living rent-free for 2 years. Mom says, crossing her arms. I look her dead in the eye. $8,000 I never agreed to pay. Don't start with your legal crap again. Mom, you signed my workers' comp checks over to your account. That was my rent. Her lips tighten. Dad glances at her, quick and guilty. Kyle laughs like it's all some sitcom. The August sun was a furnace, heat radiating off the driveway in shimmering waves. Mom stood on the porch steps, arms crossed like she was holding the whole house hostage. You were eating our food, using our utilities, she said, her voice hard enough to chip concrete. I took one slow step forward, meeting her stare head on. And paying half your mortgage with money meant for my recovery. Kyle gave a short, derisive laugh from behind her, as if the line was part of some family sitcom. Maddie's phone hovered between us, its black lens aimed like a weapon. Smile for the internet, Rye, she taunted. Make it your profile picture. I gave her exactly what she wanted. A slow, razor-edged grin that wasn't joy, wasn't defeat. It was a promise. "Enjoy your victory party," I said quietly. "Just remember, cameras catch more than you think." For the briefest moment, her smile faltered. The shift was tiny, but I saw it. And somewhere deep inside, the pressure kept building. Not the kind that explodes, but the kind that cuts with precision. 2 years earlier. Hospital walls the color of wet ash. The room smelled of antiseptic and wilted flowers. I was half drugged on morphine, my left leg bound tight in bandages, my back on fire with every shallow breath. Mom sat by the bed, a stack of papers in her lap, her voice wrapped in sugar. "Don't worry, honey. I'll take care of the bills. You just focus on getting better." I signed without reading, the pen trembling in my hand, granting her power of attorney. A month later, my savings began to vanish. $42,000, bled out into debts that weren't mine. Credit cards, late taxes, all swept clean from her slate, while mine stayed buried under the weight. Back then, I told myself it was family, that she was saving the house for all of us. But looking at her now, in the thick heat, mocking me for living rent-free, I felt the truth settled in. I had been a lifeline she'd gladly cut once she was safe. I lowered my voice until it was barely above a breath, but loud enough for Maddie's livestream to catch every syllable. "You think this is bad? Wait until the IRS starts asking about the 42 grand in my name that disappeared while I was on painkillers." It hit them like a silent earthquake. Mom's face drained to a pale, waxy gray. Dad's jaw flexed. Kyle stopped moving altogether. Maddie's arm stiffened midair, her phone trembling just enough to betray her. "Ryan, don't," Mom whispered, as if volume alone could undo what I'd said. "Too late," I told her. "They've got your signature on every check. And, Maddie," I turned my eyes on her like a spotlight. "That live stream you're so proud of, you just documented felony-level fraud, publicly." The phone slipped from her hand and shattered against the driveway. Kyle muttered something under his breath, sharp, ugly. The neighbor across the street quietly shut their door, as if realizing they'd been watching more than family drama. Kyle stormed into the house, the slam of the door ricocheting down the street. Maddie's face was streaked with mascara, but there was no guilt in her tears, only fear. Dad stepped toward me, his hand locking around my arm like a clamp. "We can fix this," he said, his voice low but urgent. "You don't have to destroy your own blood." I stared at him until he looked away. "You destroyed it the moment you cashed the first check." The grip loosened. The silence between us felt heavy, thick, the kind that comes before a storm levels everything in its path. I threw the last duffel bag into my trunk and slammed it shut. When I drove off, they stayed frozen on the porch, smaller now, like a kingdom that had just realized its walls were paper. 6 months later, rain ran in thin rivers down the window of my small apartment in another state. The city outside hummed, steady, alive. Mine. My phone lit up at 11:47 p.m. "Where are you? Answer your phone now." "Mom, dude, Mom's freaking out. Just tell us where you are." "Kyle, I deleted the live stream. Please come back. We need to talk." "Maddie, call us immediately." "Dad." I let the screen fade to black. Somewhere, an IRS agent was reading through their bank statements. Somewhere else, Maddie's sponsorship deals were crumbling. Kyle was back in the same basement he'd laughed about, choking on the irony. And I was here. Steady paycheck, fresh coffee, people who saw me as something other than the family's convenient villain. The balcony was slick from rain, but I stepped out barefoot, letting the city lights spill over me like a tide. I thought about the boy I used to be, the one who would have run home the second they called, desperate to fix what wasn't his fault. That boy was gone. Mom was facing the consequences she'd built with her own hands. Maddie's empire had rotted from the inside. Kyle was trapped in the same cage they'd once locked me in. I didn't feel triumph. I felt air. space, freedom. Not because they were suffering, but because I had finally chosen myself over their chaos. Maybe one day they'd call without rage, without manipulation. Maybe I'd answer, not to reconcile, just to close the chapter for good. Until then, my silence would be my peace, and peace, I'd learned, was sharper than any revenge. Hey everyone, that was my story. Raw, painful, and yeah, real. If you've ever been pushed out, betrayed, or treated like the black sheep, I want to hear from you. What would you have done in my place? Would you walk away? Fight back? Forgive? Drop your thoughts in the comments. If you felt this, hit that like button. Subscribe for more real-life stories, and share this with someone who needs to know they're not alone. Your story matters. Don't let anyone write it for you.